Yes, I know it sounds super nerdy, and it is super nerdy, but... Hello everyone, and welcome to Speculative Evolution, the YouTube channel covering the topic of, well, speculative evolution. I am Marcello, and in case you don't know what speculative evolution is, and odds are you probably don't, I am going to be introducing you to the topic in this video. Speculative evolution, which is sometimes called speculative biology, is a field of somewhat hypothetical science that, well, speculates about the evolution or biology of life forms. Quite a self-descriptive term, don't you think? The field tries to be as scientific as possible, though it could be said it wasn't always this way. The general field of speculative evolution encompasses a very large variety of different subfields, perhaps the most notable of which is exobiology, the study of how life could evolve on other worlds. The general approach to this is to create a planet or other body which could support life, then to create life which adapts and evolves on the planet. Another important, perhaps as notable field is future evolution, another extremely self-descriptive term. It is speculation about how Earth's life forms could evolve in the future. 5 million years from now? Easy. 50 million years from now? Piece of cake. 500 million years from now? Can do. The third major field, albeit probably the least well known due to the lack of media, is alternative evolution. Not, and I repeat, not alternate history. Alternative evolution doesn't care about humans and their history because we are but a blip on the evolutionary timescale. Alternative evolution works usually posit questions about what would occur if something in Earth's history had happened differently. Say, what if the dinosaurs never went extinct? Or what if the dinosaurs had never evolved in the first place? Finally, there are a couple of relatively minor fields of speculative evolution to be mentioned, one of which is the existence of parallel or alternate universes. Oftentimes, a major part of this is completely different laws of physics to follow, or even different numbers of space dimensions, like 2 or 4-dimensional universes. As for the other field, that's something we'll get back to later. And now we return to evolution. One of the most crucial and, in fact, one of the most difficult aspects of making speculative evolution is actually making life forms plausible. That is, making life forms that have a fair probability of actually existing in the scenario, even if it is something that is either extremely impractical or impossible to scientifically observe. This is where the laws of evolution come into play. The theory of evolution was first described in Charles Darwin's pivotal work On the Origin of Species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. In other words, evolution. The book. The title of the work is almost long enough to describe the entire workings of evolution. Essentially, what it's saying is that new species originate because individuals with favorable mutations survive longer and are able to mate, a process later dubbed, though not by Darwin himself, survival of the fittest. Some factors selected for the ability to attract mates, obtain resources, and evade predation. Another important thing to note about evolution, and something that Charles Darwin could not possibly have known, is the exact role of DNA, a substance completely unknown at the time, in the process of mutation and other genetic changes. DNA changes in 2 main ways, the first and most common of which is the shuffling or recombination of genes during sexual reproduction. The less common, but perhaps the more influential method of genetic change is unintentional, but can result in something completely non-existent in any members of a species. That is the process of true mutation, something universal to all life forms, and is brought on either by an error in the overly complicated and super essential to life and also extremely essential to high school biology process of genetic copying, or by high levels of radiation. The point is that mutation is random, yet the selection that chooses mutations is not, and that neither can be fully controlled by the evolving life forms themselves. So, as much as a cat might like to be able to float, have purple fur, and breathe fire, it won't because these are both very difficult things to evolve and very energy-consuming and overall useless traits. On the other hand, say humans go extinct and leave behind some of their cats, which become feral. They could feasibly evolve greater jumping capabilities and the ability to eat more plant matter because both of these are not extremely difficult to evolve and provide an advantage to those cats which do evolve these mutations. Now for a brief history of speculative evolution. The person who first invented the field of speculative evolution, or at least the first to truly publish it, was Dougal Dixon, logically a geologist, with his future evolution book After Man, A Zoology of the Future, published in 1981. After that, he proceeded to publish his second work of speculative biology, The New Dinosaurs, in 1988, establishing the field of alternative evolution, and also the extreme cliché in alternative evolution of dinosaurs not going extinct. In 1990, he released his infamously weird and unique future human evolution work, Man After Man, an anthropology of the future, including a number of extremely creepy and specialized genetically modified humans. A number of speculative evolution programs have been published as well, such as the notable The Future is Wild, a future evolution mockumentary, which aired on the Discovery Channel in 2002, and another Discovery Channel program program, this time about exobiology, entitled Alien Planet, which aired in 2005. But perhaps the most famous and accredited works of speculative evolution only started out as speculative. That is, the final field which I have not yet mentioned, the field of speculating about what actually happened in Earth's past. And wow, there have been some real successes. One of the earliest of these was published in 1915 by William B., known as the Tetrapteryx. It was a hypothetical bird ancestor with wings on both its arms and legs, often considered nonsense or highly implausible at first. These days, however, scientists have resurrected the hypothesis, though perhaps under a different name. Microraptor gui. Another of these hypotheses, and perhaps the most entirely spot on, was that of the Psittacardae, a group of filter-feeding relatives of this thing, Anomalocaris, a giant cousin of modern arthropods, animals with exoskeletons. Shockingly, the hypothesis was proven entirely correct when a number of species with the described traits were uncovered. In honor of the creator of Psittacardae, the family was named Psittiocardae, with a one-letter difference, of course. Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Speculative Evolution for more awesome content like this. Also, if you're interested in writing Speculative Evolution yourself, go ahead and check out Speculative Evolution Wiki and Speculative Evolution forums, both awesome sites which I visit. Ciao! Yes, I know I referred to evolution as a theory. Evolution is a theory, just like all the years' worth of work Newton and Einstein put into gravity amount to just a theory. No, I'm not doing this. So don't argue against evolution, just like you don't go jumping off the top story of the Empire State Building, because evolution is just as much of a theory as gravity is. Don't question evolution!